Hello, everybody. I've only partially killed my voice so far. I would like to welcome you to GameVidExpo. Our panel today is group content bigger than the sum. The idea being that sometimes when people get together to create gaming video, sometimes they do more if they join with other people. So we want to talk about what it's like to be part of a group, what the problems are when you join a group, and talk about things like doing collaborative videos and things like that. So why don't I introduce the panel, you guys one at a time?
Sure. Yeah, I'm SethBling. I do Minecraft videos, and I'm part of the Minecraft server. So that's the group I'm part of. But I've also done a lot of kind of impromptu or spur-of-the-moment tournaments on various maps that I've made for Minecraft. So I have a lot of experience with groups that aren't necessarily set groups, but are just kind of people that come together for one event.
I'm Guude. I am also part of the Minecraft group. I'm the guy that originally founded the group.
Short.
Yeah, I don't have much to say.
I'm Ian, or Ssundee. I'm part of Team Crafted, and hi.
So when you guys were first starting to get into your gaming, and all you guys are mostly known for Minecraft.
Yes.
Ssundee, did you do anything before you got big into Minecraft? Were you doing much game video?
Call of Duty. Yeah, I started with that.
And that was mostly a solo venture, correct?
Mostly, yeah, because it's Call of Duty. So
Yeah, I know.
people yelling at each other.
But when you guys started poking around with Minecraft and saying, hey, let's do some cool stuff, did you start off with individual content, or did you kind of latch on to other people to play with first?
Well, when I started, there was no such thing as multiplayer yet, so I didn't really have that option. But the moment it was available, I latched on to play with like-minded people myself.
Yeah, I guess when I started Minecraft, I think there was multiplayer, the very beginnings of multiplayer, but it was very buggy, very glitchy. You'd try and go through a door and then it would just slam in your face and that sort of thing. Yeah, I definitely started off with single player because it was a lot easier to actually get things done. A lot more stuff actually worked. And when I was, I do stuff with redstone, which I don't think really worked right on the multiplayer server stuff. So it took me a while also to get used to the fact that I could even build stuff designed for multiplayer, and PvP is also a big part of that. So yeah, like Guude, I guess it was just the fact that there wasn't that much functionality in Minecraft when I started, and it just, yeah, took me a while to get into the mindset of designing multiplayer stuff.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
I started a single player world and played for probably, I want to say maybe 5 episodes, and then I transitioned back and forth from Call of Duty and Minecraft, so it was kind of like I went from shooting people to building a house. It was kind of weird, but at the same time, then multiplayer started coming out, and it was just, I don't know, it was just a big cluster. You know how Minecraft was. I mean, it just hit the mainstream and went insane, so you don't know what happens.
Was the video content that you did you do group calls for things like that at the beginning, or was it just group content, but you were still an individual playing in that group content?
At the start, I would say, because usually on my YouTube channel I upload 7 videos a week, I would say maybe half were group and half were solo content, because I'm a big advocate on doing your solo content to get your personality out there and show who you truly are. That's just my philosophy. So I would do half and half. Now I'm more towards the solo content, but that's where I started. It was about half and half solo and then collabs.
Now that I think about it, the first group that I was a part of was a Race for the Wool team, which was this competitive tournament thing with teams of 4. And I remember that the way the team got together was this guy named Tree, who had a pretty small YouTube channel at the time. He emailed me, FB Disco, and Etho, and he was like, I got these other 2 guys on a team, you want to join this team? And like all of us, he was just playing off of each other, but we ended up getting in a team together, and it was really great. It was a lot of fun, but it was a little bit of trickery involved, and that's how the first like multiplayer group experience that I had started.
In your question, Wes, were you asking, you said something about were you in a call together?
Well, like, I think there's two different kinds of group content. There is, we are a group and we all play on the same server individually. And then there is, we're on a call together. Like, I mean, your UHC stuff.
I see. I understand now. Okay. Yeah. Were you, I don't remember. Were you?
I was just asking what your first
I see. I
stuff
see.
was.
Yeah. For me, I think it was more. We're on the same group, but we're not necessarily always playing together.
Yeah.
I think what drove me to the group content is more MMO style gaming that I did prior to being on YouTube, where there you are normally all on a call together, like in a raid or that type of setting. But then you're also doing things solo when you're like questing on your own. So I think in all these things, even when you're not recording and you're playing in a group setting, it's going to mix together probably about 50-50, like you said.
Yeah, yeah.
So, your first Minecraft servers that were group oriented, did you have to set down rules? Like, were there conflicts at the beginning about how things needed to be or how things should be, or did you just kind of gel when you first started digging into things?
Well, the first multiplayer video I think I did with the group that I'm with now was Cops and Robbers. And of course there's rules with that because there's a lot of role playing. You have the cop that's running around yelling at all the inmates. If the inmates were just to break out and run for the door, it would be horrible. But, I mean, so you gotta kind of follow some sort of guideline, but, I mean, we all gelled really well,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, when you're with the right group, you don't necessarily have to say the rules
Yeah,
always.
yeah.
Although
Sometimes.
sometimes when you don't say the rules, then you run
Yeah.
into problems later when people have different ideas. Actually, turns out.
Yeah, I think like UHC within our group is a good example of that, where you don't really need to say the rules. We all kind of are doing the same thing as far as making content and everything, but we do set ground rules to some degree, I guess, as far as how we're going to produce this, how we're going to release this content, and things like that.
And Guude, you kind of were the figurehead for Minecraft because you started it. But like, I'm not really that familiar with the beginning of Team Crafted. Like, how was the leadership there founded?
As far as I remember, it was back at PAX East last year. I met Adam, Scott is Minecraft, Deadlocks, and I want to say Caveman Films. And they just had this team going. And whenever we got back from PAX East, they invited me to it. So how it was all formed, I think it was just a group of 4 guys sitting in a Skype call and like, hey, let's start a team, All right, cool, let's do it.
Yeah, and I think they'd already been doing videos
Yeah,
together and
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
before that.
They've always
yeah.
done videos together, and then they just, invited more people along, and then it formed, and yeah.
How do you think do you think that I know your numbers, Ssundee, have grown like crazy. How much do you think, I mean, realistically, how much of that do you think is due to the fact that you joined a group and that group content was really resonating with you?
I definitely owe a lot to the team and the guys that I've worked with, without a doubt. I want to say when I joined the team, I was, view-wise, I went from around 1 million views a month to around 8 million views a month. So it skyrocketed. It was amazing. And then I got stagnant at around 8 million views. And then I really started pushing out, I guess my personality and solo content really started pushing who I am just started going insane in commentaries, if any of you are familiar with my videos. And that's when November of last year, it really started taking off. And I'm very grateful for it, obviously. It's awesome. But the team definitely helped without a doubt. But the more I started putting out solo stuff, honestly, and getting, my true personality out there is when I feel that it really started going well, so.
I think that's a good example of the benefit of a team, because just because you're in a team and you're seeing growth because you're with that team doesn't necessarily mean that you are dependent on that team to be successful, but it may be good for you to be a part of that team to get the exposure to other people other people in the community, et cetera, so that they can see your personality, and then once they are invested in you, they can see your personality in a solo setting and realize that, not only do I like you when you're with other people, but I really like you when you're by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Seth, you're mostly known for your solo content. Do you feel like Minecraft is bringing you down, man?
God, it's been terrible ever since I joined. So Minecraft, I basically just see Minecraft as a group of guys that I get along with really well, and that sometimes if I just want to hang out with other people, I can do it. If I want to grab some other people for a video to help demonstrate something that I can't demonstrate on my own, I think that's useful to me. I really enjoy participating in the UHC events, so that's something I definitely couldn't do on my own. And I really like Minecraft PvP. I don't play a ton of it on my channel, but being a part of the group gives me a really good avenue for that, because it's just a group of people that I know I'm going to have fun with, and I'm going to produce good videos with. So, but also, yeah, recently the last few videos I've done, and the video that's coming out today, I just pulled a Minecracker in and said, hey, you want to record this with me and help me demonstrate it? And it's just a really convenient way to get that done quickly.
And we kind of touched on this a little bit in the Minecraft panel yesterday, but what do you think is the biggest stressful thing about being part of a group? Like, what's the most difficult thing you find when you're trying to put together group content?
Scheduling, that's for sure. Getting on the same recording pattern. Some people, I mean, personally, I have crazy sleep hours, and then somebody else has a normal sleep hour, so whenever on at the same time, just stuff like that. I like a certain type of video, they like a different type of video. It can get tough. Obviously you get through it and push through it and still maintain that friendship, but yeah, I would say scheduling.
I'll say that when I was doing a lot of, when I would put out a PvP map and then host a tournament or something, it was a bit stressful trying to figure out who was actually going to be there. Actually, the very first one I put together was for a map I made called Pit Frenzy, and I was shocked at the response rate. Almost everyone that I asked wanted to join and play, and that was really cool for me. It was my first one, so I didn't have like a track record or anything.
I remember that map. That was a fun map.
Thanks. Yeah, and so like a lot of people came and joined, and I was really surprised. And basically everyone that responded actually showed up, and we had a great tournament. But then even more recently, I have sent out hey, you want to do this like Super Craft Brothers tournament or something, and then I would get a lot of responses. And then a bunch of people wouldn't show up, and I'm like, well, I planned for this, this many people, and having that uncertainty when you're planning a group event with people that aren't necessarily in that sort of tight-knit group can be pretty stressful, and it's just hard to account for all that. I actually have, when I make a spreadsheet for who's coming up, I have people sign up on a spreadsheet. I have them put down what percentage likelihood they are to attend, and some people are better than others at estimating, so. Sorry,
made
I'm a
me
spreadsheet
laugh.
sort of guy.
You have cracked me up with how meticulous you are. So, talking about working within groups, have you found that sometimes you get you seek more complexity? Like, now that you have people you can draw from, do your ideas get more grandiose, and the things you think you can pull off get more elaborate because you're part of a group?
Yeah, definitely. Without a doubt. There's, a lot of entertaining and creative YouTubers out there, and just bouncing ideas. You tell them, hey, I want to do this. They're like, no, you're stupid. You kind of learn that way, and then, I don't know, you just figure out good synergies and good creative content. That's important, definitely important.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's difficult. Whatever you do have something you're really passionate about, and an idea that you really think it's going to be a good idea, and then you tell your group, and they're like, I don't see it, man. I don't see it. And you're like, no, it's great. Trust me.
Yeah, I would say, because I don't really I don't really focus my content around the personality or the group content most of the time. I mean, UHC and some of the mini games I play is a little different than that. I would say I don't really design my maps differently now that I'm part of a group with the intention of, oh yeah, I can have these guys play it and it'll be perfect for that. So I guess it hasn't affected the way that I do my content that was primarily solo before. But
Have you guys found that working with groups, the differences in personality are stronger than you predicted or lighter than you predicted? Like, have you found it easier to get along with your teammates than you thought you would, or has it been more difficult at times than you thought it would be?
I would say it's a mix. It's a mix of both. Sometimes you see somebody's solo content, like personally, I mean, I'm a little bit more outgoing in my solo content. And then when I get in a group, I kind of, ease back because other people want to talk. I mean, if you're in a video with 8 people, of course you can't just be yelling the entire time. But it's definitely a mix. Sometimes you'll record with somebody that talks 90% of the time. And then you'll record with somebody that you have to talk 90% of the time. So it's definitely, it's hit or, you don't know.
Yeah.
You never know. Hit or miss.
I think that is one advantage of having a group that you record with a lot because for instance, like Minecraft, over the last 3.5 years, I've got to know these people on a personal level that I can, I can easily play off of them, basically pitch them a joke and I know that they're gonna, fulfill and things like that. So, I think it's definitely easier whenever you have time to get to know the people and you get to better understand them. There's always going to be, people that don't necessarily mix greatly. I mean, within any group, no matter how big or small, I think.
For me, it's sort of interesting because I joined Minecraft when there were already 26 members, right? There hasn't been anyone else that's joined since I've joined, and so I didn't know everyone. I knew a lot of people, and I knew that I got along with them well. But for instance, just meeting some of the guys at Minecon, the most recent Minecon here, it was really cool because I didn't know if I was going to get along with them, but it turns out Vintage Beef and Zisto, I get along with really well, and it was cool to meet them in person and really find that out in a way that I couldn't find out over a Skype call. So yeah, sometimes you don't really know what you're getting into, but I guess with this group it really worked out well, I think.
How well do you think you've developed your radio voice? Like, how well do you think you're capable of knowing when not to talk because someone else is?
Pretty good. You learn pretty quick.
Yeah, and if you record with the same people a lot, you also know when that they're who's going to talk more. For instance, like the Gary's Mod stuff that we do. When a video plays, he doesn't really talk that much, but if you put him on our podcast, he's one of the most vocal people, and so he understands that dynamic as well. So I think playing with the same people is really beneficial.
It's true, because I think if you know the other person, you're gonna play off each other like that. But it's going back to when I used to organize those tournaments a lot. You'd be in a group of 4 people for one game, and then another group of 4 people for another, and the dynamic would be totally different. And people just have different expectations of how much you're going to push your own voice versus let other people in. And so I've heard people that are really talkative in their own videos just become completely silent in group content. And but I think that's right, exactly right, that once you have a group that you know, you can at least plan ahead for what that's going to be, and if you need to force yourself to talk more or less, then you know to do that.
And I think you can often tell groups that are not as cohesive because you'll watch their videos and they'll all be talking at the same time. And they'll be talking over each other, and they're all trying to be funny, and they don't know how to hand off the ball to anybody.
Right.
And I think that there's value in group content when you can step up and say, okay, so-and-so saying something, I'll be quiet and let them get what they're going to say in. And I learned that in podcasting. I mean, after 600 hours of podcasting, you learn to just stop talking. But when I joined in for some of the Minecraft stuff, I didn't. I work with Minecraft doing some planning, and I get together some PvP stuff, but I'm not a Minecraft member, and so I also feel like I need to let you guys have your show, and I want to talk and add, but I don't want to be a personality in what you're doing. How often do you guys feel that you have to that you're in somebody else's show?
I think a good example of that is the Dead Workers Party, and the podcast where you're inviting someone new every week. I know. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I've always flown to be with you guys for that podcast, because it's easier to interact. But sometimes when I've watched the podcast, you can see when someone's not familiar with the group, and you guys don't know, you're waiting for them to kind of jump in, but they're not, so you're just filling the air, and then they don't really say anything the whole podcast, so it's awkward.
Actually, that's a really good example, because I've been on the Shaft podcast twice, and I felt like the first time I was a lot more shy because I didn't really know you guys as well, and then the second time was after I had met you guys in person and stuff, and yeah, it was. I think it was a big difference. Also, there's sometimes there's just inequalities in like subscriber numbers, and the person with not as many subscribers will feel like, oh, I really shouldn't like push like, yeah, but really that's not the way you want it. That's not the way you want it to be. You want it to be an equal partnership, no matter who has. It doesn't really matter who has more subscribers. If you're doing a video together, it's because you want to be doing a video together. But sometimes I think it does feel like that for some people.
Do you think that the size of your channel sometimes, how much does that influence the dynamic? How much does it feel, do you feel like, well, come on, I'm bigger, or he's bigger, he should be getting more attention, or do you feel like the situation is often more democratic than that?
I think it depends on how well you know each other.
Yeah.
I mean, I've recorded videos with channels a lot smaller than my channel, and also a lot bigger. I remember though feeling really it was really daunting when I contacted, say, Captain Sparkles to do the TNT Olympics. He had 5 times as many subscribers as I did, and I was like, I don't want to take up much of your time, but if you'd like to do this thing. And but actually once we got in there and started recording together and got in the flow of things, it worked out a lot better. So I think it gets better as you start to get to know people better.
I think Jordan's a really good example of, Captain Sparkles is a good example of the right personality type, in my opinion, because he's not egotistical. There are people that do have 10 million subscribers, and now I'm better than you is a mentality type that they seem to portray. But I've never seen that side of Jordan. I mean, I know we've recorded building game we did the other day, and a couple of the people have new YouTube channels with less than 1,000 subscribers, and that I don't think he didn't act like that crossed his mind. It didn't cross mine either. So I think he's a good example of someone that you would want to record with, and he's open to record with anyone regardless. He doesn't see it as, well, I'm bigger than you, so what are you doing for me, I guess.
Yeah, like I said, I think if no matter the channel size, if somebody's funny, somebody's funny. If you are familiar with my channel at all, I've been recording with Lancey Poo. I mean, he doesn't have a channel size that I do, but he's hilarious, and we do really well together. So he talks a lot more than I do in our dual content. Perfectly fine. He's insane. So, GG. Have fun. It's fun.
I think another example that comes to my mind, actually, once you said that, was I was once contacted by a guy named BOO. At the time, I had around 20,000 subscribers, and he had just started his YouTube channel. He now has double my subscribers, I believe. But when he first contacted me, he had uploaded his first LP or whatever. I watched it, and I was like, wow, this is really boring. Then a couple weeks later, he put up this series, How to Build a Computer. And he was himself, and he was a really hilarious guy. And I was like, yeah, I could record with this guy. We'd be hilarious together. And so I did a series with him. And, I'm sure he would have been just as successful if we hadn't. But the subscriber number is not what stopped me from doing that. It was whether or not I thought we would mesh well together. I'm glad we did.
Have you had teammates that you think really flourish in group environments, that maybe their solo content isn't as good, but once you get them into a group, they're like, that's the star.
There's definitely channels like that, and people that I've seen that I've recorded with, whenever they get in the solo realm, they kind of, their personality changes a little bit. I'm the same way. I mean, it's just different. That you can. It's weird. Some people have a hard time talking to themselves. Go figure. You have multiple personalities. You talk to yourself. It can get weird. I've heard that from a lot of people. You're recording by yourself. It's like you're talking to nobody. It's definitely an art. It's something you have to learn. So it can be different. You know, how do you talk for 10 to 15 minutes to yourself? It's just something you have to learn. So yeah, I mean, people's personalities do change in a group setting just because, well, they have a real person to talk to. But it just takes time to learn that.
I think I'm actually a good example of that. I don't think I'm exceptionally, entertaining in a group environment or anything, but doing a group minigame versus doing a solo minigame, I have not much experience doing that, and I'm still pretty uncomfortable trying to commentate that. And when I'm like live streaming a minigame or something, I feel a bit uncomfortable with that, and it's something I guess I would like to get better at, but that's just how it is right now.
Well, and I noticed in your content, Guude, I watched you have 30-minute videos of you building where you had this amazing, elaborate conversation with me as a viewer, whereas, like, I can't do that either. You would sit there and just talk as casually as anything about your life and what was going on with you, and I'm just like, wow, how does he do that?
I think you see that in real world too. Like, look at like stand-up comedians versus situational comedy. So for instance, there was a period where I dabbled with comedy, and improv comedy is more of my style. Like, I don't think I would fit well technically in like a sitcom, but there are people that couldn't do stand-up comedy, but they would be great on sitcom. And like you look at like Jerry Seinfeld, he's an example of someone that's great at both. So yeah, I think it really just depends on how comfortable you are in those type of environments.
How much do you guys, you guys are both in groups, but how often do you reach out to try to do content with other YouTubers and just do collaborative stuff with other people? How often do you try to do that?
I guess however often it's necessary for me is the answer. I mean, the solo content is the main focus of my channel, but sometimes I do need other people, and sometimes I get into modes where I'm thinking about multiplayer stuff more than I'm thinking about single player stuff. And when that happens, I do usually reach out to Minecraft first, but I also reach out to other people who aren't in Minecraft very often. And but yeah, it's not. I guess it's not like I try and intentionally schedule, okay, I need to have at least one group thing a week. I need to have somebody else in my video once a week. It's just, it's very natural.
Yeah, same. I mean, it's with my channel, I've done a lot of, like I said, solo stuff. So it is, it's like Seth said, you don't make it a point just to go out and look for a YouTuber, but I guess that would be good.
Yeah, whenever you said that, I realized I was like, I don't do that enough. Maybe I should do that more.
It's like, why not? It's a good idea. I know Adam, Scott as Minecraft, used to have a series where he would record like a Hunger Games with just somebody he wanted to in the YouTube community.
Yeah.
I mean, that's actually thanks.
Well, why don't we take some questions from the audience? If anybody has any questions, just step up to the microphone, and we'd love to hear from you.
Hi.
I don't think it's on.
Oh, do we
It's
have
not on.
microphone?
All right, cool.
I hope it's not on.
I don't know if they're paying attention to me over there.
No.
Can we get the audience microphones, please?
Why don't you just ask the question? I'll repeat it, or Wes will repeat it.
The question is, big-time streamers do like outreach with their subscribers. They play like league matches or play World of Warcraft or whatever with them. And I don't know. To me, it feels like they don't really do anything like personally with the subscribers. It feels like they're still playing like pug matches and stuff, and like maybe Minecraft people do it too. Do you think like there could be a way for you to like trust the community and invite people to a raid call or a Skype and actually play with them like it was a commentary? And just kind of do that to get more in touch with your community and maybe find new friends or whatever?
Well, Skype is really hard because once somebody has your Skype info, it
it's
can
dangerous.
be, yeah. That's Skype is in particular something that I keep very private. It's for the people that I know and trust. I mean, there's other options like Mumble or whatever. It's not something I really do because there's really a lot of people kind of demanding my attention. Or not all of them are demanding my attention, but there's just a lot of people kind of who want it. And I love conventions because I get to actually meet people and talk with them, but it's really hard to say, okay, I'm going to set aside some time now to kind of meet with a few of my subscribers, but most of them aren't going to, get anything out of it. So I feel like my time is better spent connecting with more people by just continuing with I guess the videos that I make. I feel like that has a larger impact on the community. So, but it's an interesting question, I think.
Yeah.
I think it'd be easier for a streamer. Sorry, you can go ahead.
No.
Yeah, well, yeah. If I like for someone that's YouTube content, I don't know that you could make good video content out of something like that. For a streamer, I could see it. I think it's easier too, based on the size. So if you're, to have millions of subscribers, it's probably really difficult to even set up a server that could support that number of people. And then even then, it would feel like you're not really able to give individual attention to those people. And like Seth said, that's really why I like going to conventions, because I do get to meet the people that find my content entertaining and one-on-one speak with them.
Yeah. I mean, I've been in raid calls before with subscribers and stuff like that, and it's a lot of fun. Just hearing what everybody has to say, it's definitely entertaining, and I enjoy it. I think they enjoy it too. But to record that, it would probably just sound like a jumbled up mess. It's like 200 people yelling. It's like, oh, cool. What did that guy say? I have no clue. It's an idea, but I think there needs to be maybe, I don't know, regulations. I don't know. I've never looked into it. It seems like a fun idea, though.
All right, cool, thanks.
Yeah.
On that note, do you think that there is a little bit of a gauntlet that you feel like people need to go through, that beginning steps of recording your video before you want to collaborate with them so that they know kind of the rules before they come in? Do you think there are some beginning steps that most game content creators have to go through in order to understand before they can do group content?
I say definitely. You like we were saying, you want to get that synergy. You want to play a game with somebody for a few hours here or there just to see how you guys mesh.
Yeah.
If you're talking and then somebody else starts talking, it's awkward. It's just like, no, you go ahead, you talk.
Yeah,
Okay.
we invited Mojang to play a UHC with us, and no one had ever played with Grum before. We kind of know Nathan at Dinnerbone, but Grum we didn't really know. And so when I watched those videos, you could tell there was a little bit of awkwardness there. I mean, it came out fine and all, but you can see it whenever that dynamic's not there.
Yeah, I don't know that I've ever recorded a video with someone who I haven't already seen a video from. It's you need to make sure that the person that you're recording with is competent, I guess. There's a lot of people out there trying to make videos, and not all of them are there yet.
Yeah.
Ssundee, this is more towards you. Why, over the past few years, as you and Team Crafty's channels have grown, you guys used to do a lot of mod videos and other types of videos, but now recently it's been all mini games. Why and what do you think has caused that change?
I want to say recently mini games are slowly starting to get phased out, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Mods, I want to say they started becoming more prevalent because Minecraft is limited. Mojang can only add so much. They're only humans. So modded Minecraft, it expanded the game. And then when mini games came out, when plugins started being made, bucket plugins for servers, all these mini games started coming out. It just added a whole new venture. You could Like the other day, I played Flappy Birds in Minecraft, or Guess Who in Minecraft. I mean, who doesn't want to play that? So it's just, I guess it's more of a fun aspect to us. Like, would I rather go build a castle or a house? Or would I rather go play a bird flapping through tunnels? I'm gonna choose the bird.
I think one good thing to be said about minigames is that since they're on servers and you don't need a modded client, it's super easy to just connect, try 5 different mini games, connect to a different server. You can get through a lot really fast and find the fun stuff really quickly. So, yeah.
In your Twitch career, YouTube career, what's your biggest regret that you have?
It's about to get sad. I
I think for myself, the biggest regret I have is that I did not know what I was doing when I started my channel. I made my name Guude Boulderfist because I was uploading a World of Warcraft video, and I played on the Boulderfist server. And so if I could redo anything, it would be that my username would just be Guude instead of Guude Boulderfist. Some people can't even spell the word boulder, or fist.
I don't think there's any way that could possibly be my biggest regret, but SethBling is. It's not something I intentionally chose for YouTube.
I like that. That's a good name.
Yeah, for the first year or two, I would get embarrassed when I had to tell people my YouTube name. It was actually my AIM screen name from 9th grade. And I didn't intend to create this big YouTube channel when I started. I think at this point, people get used to it, associate it with the content. And it is something actually very memorable. I've had friends tell me that yeah, I know the word SethBling is associated with you, but I can't remember why. And so it turns out to be just a really sticky name, but I think it's really dumb.
Okay.
That's a tough question. I'd pass.
Yeah, I can't think of any big regrets either.
Yeah, I don't know. This is an awesome thing, so it's
Yeah.
kind of hard to find a regret,
Okay.
Well, how did you guys really start out on the YouTube community?
Start out as a hobby, something that's fun. It's still, I consider it, a hobby. It's really fun. You just start out doing something that not many of your friends do, so you kind of keep it a secret, but at the same time, you just like it. I don't know, it's hard to explain. I started out, like I said, as Call of Duty, and just kept going. And main point is have fun. That's how you start out, Enjoy what you do.
Okay.
Could we ever be seeing a Team Crafted versus Minecraft?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Possibly.
Is it a scheduling?
What
you
type?
gonna be
What
scheduling?
game type? What do you? What
Like
you
some
got?
kind of mini game or something.
Mini game.
Like Battledome or UHC.
Would you like to play with us, Ssundee?
Yes.
Ooh.
Okay, all right.
was-
You made it happen.
It's a long delay.
I know, it was, yeah.
No, I had to think, because I would feel bad, if we played and then, it was one versus, how many guys do you have on your team?
Oh, yeah, there's 26 of us.
Yeah,
We should totally do it that
I
way.
would feel bad, if I beat all 26 of you.
Oh.
It's just, it'd be awkward.
We'll give you a horse. You get a horse.
I get a horse.
Okay.
How did you each get started in Minecraft? Where did you hear from about it?
Sea Nanners. That's where I heard from it, Sea Nanners.
Yeah, that was the first video I saw, was a Cnners video. I was looking on YouTube for a World of Warcraft video, actually, and it just was a recommended video, and I was like, what's this Minecraft thing?
Yeah.
It seems like that's everyone's answer is Minecraft or X or CoStar. I actually didn't hear about it from YouTube. My roommate is where I heard it. He was playing it. I wandered over to his computer and saw him he had a mine cart and he was just pushing it around, and he told me about the game where you could mine the blocks, put them elsewhere, and I thought it was just awesome. A really cool idea to have a world that you could just totally modify however you wanted. And so then I actually started playing myself. I downloaded it, and my roommate was out, and I didn't know that there was a Minecraft wiki, and I didn't want any spoilers because I thought maybe it was a kind of game with spoilers. And so I just I didn't even notice the crafting table in your inventory. So I was just like digging up and building dirt castles. Like, and then he came home and he's like, "What are you doing?" So yeah, it was the first couple hours of Minecraft was, yeah.
What aspects do you think got you where you were today on your YouTube channel?
I think if you anything that you're passionate about, you can be successful at. Like Ssundee said, like I also started. It was just a hobby. I didn't even know you could make money from YouTube at the time. I think now a lot of people say YouTube career because they've seen where it's going in the last few years and people are making money from it. But I think if you enter into something where that's your primary goal, you may not be as successful as if you enter into it just because you're passionate about it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of what attributes to my success is that I was doing something not a lot of people were doing at the time. I think me, FV Disco, Minecraft PG5 were really the first 3 channels to start doing these creative redstone builds that resembled things that are nostalgic to people. And there's a large demand for it. And now there's a lot of people doing that. But when we started, it was something new and fresh. And so we were kind of the first ones out there, and we built up a lot of popularity because of that. And it's kind of carried through. So.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Do you ever feel like it's, I should say, difficult to kind of juggle all of the messages that you get with people wanting to respond to things like that? Because my channel kind of recently exploded, and I've had that happening, and it's almost really overwhelming to get so many messages all the time, and I find it hard to. I feel bad not responding to people, but at the same time, I have to devote time to actually making content.
Yeah, it's tough to respond to all the messages. I mean, for sure, if you get so many, just do the best you can. You know, do the best you can with what you got. I mean, it is tough, definitely, but I mean, you knew what you were getting into before you did it. So you kind of just gotta, well, you chose it. So.
Yeah.
It'd probably help if YouTube's interface for messaging was a little bit better. In fact, since it became Google Plus, I don't even know where it's at anymore. I haven't read a message since it became Google Plus because I don't even know where to find them.
Yeah, for me, there's been a slow evolution of, I used to read every message and every tweet and everything I would get. Then I would read the titles of all the messages and, click on the ones that I thought were important. At this point, I haven't looked at YouTube messages in quite a while. I don't read my tweets every day. I get a lot of emails. I try and look through at least the titles of those.
You missed all those I love you messages I sent you, Seth?
I missed some of the I love you messages. I know how much. But yeah, it's extremely tough to keep up with that. And I know that the more time I spend on that, the less time I have for, making the things that people like. So it's just a hard balance, but you find it.
Okay, we're running a little late. We'll get these last 2 questions and then we'll move on.
I'm just curious, what do you guys do with like self-doubt and things like that in your YouTube channel? Like, how would you guys deal with that?
Self-doubt. That's definitely the biggest issue with YouTubers, I want to say. Self-doubt. When you see your numbers drop, it's like, oh gosh, do I cancel everything? Do I quit? That's tough.
Abandon ship.
Man, you just got to keep going. Keep going. Put more fuel on that fire and just keep going.
I know that every time I put out a new type of video, there's a ton of self-doubt.
Yeah.
Recently, putting out my first bucket plugin or whatever. If it's a new type of, when I first put out my UHC, I wasn't sure how people would respond, and sometimes they don't respond well, sometimes they do. And you just have to treat it like a big experiment and not get, you have to get not too invested, I guess, which is kind of weird because I'm very invested, obviously, in my content, but you have to not get too invested in the feedback you get and not take it as like a personal attack. You need to understand that everyone has their own views, and if they don't like something, well, I mean, that's just their point of view. That's fine.
That's just your opinion, man.
Yeah, it's just like your opinion, man. So it's just, you gotta be a little bit impersonal about it, and which is hard sometimes because it's something very personal.
I will also think self-doubt is just part of the human experience. It's not necessarily something that's unique to YouTube. I think anything you're going to do, if you're doing something that you feel really passionate about, I keep saying the word passionate today, but if you're doing something like that, then you're going to want people to express that same, you're going to want them to reciprocate the same type of excitement you feel about whatever it is you're doing. And if they don't, then, you know, then it leads to self-doubt. And I think that can happen in anything, not just YouTube.
Okay, we got to go fast in this last one because we're almost buttoned up to the hour.
Oh.
Okay, why did you guys join your groups, like Team Crafting and Minecraft? Why didn't you guys just say single channel?
Well, I made Minecraft, so.
I joined Minecraft just because I was already friends with a lot of the guys, and I did want to have a place that I could try survival Minecraft. I thought that was really cool, and it's basically just I don't know, it was a way of enhancing my friendship with people and also becoming part of a group and kind of a way, I guess, to make new friends with people that I thought I was likely to get along with. Yep.
Okay, well, we're going to wind this up. Everybody, thank you for joining us. Give a hand to our panelists from Team Crafted and Minecraft. Coming up next, we have Shibi and Hundar are going to be up here. So we'll talk with them and enjoy the rest of the day.